BBC Radio York.
Good afternoon, Stuart Ellis here on Tuesday the 30th of October, here until 3. Ellie on Drive from 3 this afternoon, and between now and then we'll meet a man, he could have been a rugby player. He took it very, very seriously, but then he got the singing bug back. You see, he's from Wales, and he had the choice of both without wishing to sort of reinforce a cliche. We first got to know him thanks to the X Factor. His name is Rhydian. He's in York all this week, appearing in Greece, and we'll be getting to know him between now and 3.
Stuart Ellis.
BBC Radio York.
And we thought this would be appropriate this afternoon.
Get this party started on a Saturday night. Everybody's waiting for me to arrive. I got lots of style, check my gold diamond rings. I can go for miles if you know what I mean. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. Pumping up the volume, breaking down to the beat. Cruising through the west side, we'll be checking the scene. Boulevard is freaking as I'm coming up fast. I'll be burning rubber, you'll be kissing my ass. Pull up to the bumper, get out of the car. License plate says down a number one superstar. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. 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 Making my connection as I enter the room. Everybody's chilling as I set up the groove. Pumping up the volume with this brand new beat. Everybody's dancing and they're dancing for me. I'm your operator, you can call anytime. I'll be your connection to the party line. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. 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 This party started. Right now.
So many connections to my guest this afternoon with that song, Shirley Bassey, and Get the Party Started. Rhydian, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to BBC Radio York. And York in general, just saying you're loving it.
Thank you, yeah. I've never been before. We arrived last night to do the first show at the Opera House, and I walked around this morning, and it's just glorious here. It really is.
Really nice day today for it as well. The sun was shining when I
Yeah,
came in on the
yeah.
train this morning. So, without wishing to reinforce lots of Welsh cliches, about Shirley Bassey there, obviously, and that particular song, thanks to X Factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you could have been a rugby player,
Yes.
but you decided to become a singer. Tell us more.
Well, I say I could have been a rugby player. You know, it's often said, you know, the older I get, the better I was. You know, I mean, the truth is I wasn't an international rugby player, but that was the plan at school. I went to at the time it was a rugby school of excellence, and my dad wanted me to play for Wales, and that's what I was doing, you know, becoming bigger and bigger, stronger and stronger, and that was my passion. But I always combined that with music.
Was the singing in the family? Was the music in the family?
Well, I think the music definitely was, yeah. My mother's musical. She plays piano, guitar, and she sang a bit. She used to have a folk group. My dad is a great bathroom baritone. He didn't know it, but he's got a great instrument. He'd never trained, but and his side of the family are also very musical, with virtuosic violinists and pianists that played in silent movies. So it's definitely in the family.
I would say, I suppose, in Wales, there's no, not shame in being into music. If you're a rugby player, it's just natural music, isn't it? It's not seen as anything less. Whereas, perhaps for a man to choose singing over rugby in certain other places, but in Wales that wouldn't be a problem.
For sure. I mean, you always have to sing songs after the game, or even going to the match, and I was often called upon to be the lead singer in that event, and I used to go through so many different songs, and people said, "Oh, you should continue this. You should be doing this professionally." So but I always had an ambition to do it professionally. Yeah. At the time, perhaps I never made it known to my fellow rugby players, but it was one or the other, and I'm glad that it's worked out as a singer, because longevity-wise, especially the type of voice I sing in, hopefully it'll be longer than getting a snapped leg or a broken back or whatever, God forbid, in a rugby game, and then your career really is finished by 35. So.
Yeah. And you can go on for a lot longer, hopefully.
Yeah.
With the singing. At what point did the decision have to be made, or what point did you decide?
Well, I would say it was about 19. When I was 19, I had a very good singing teacher called Stefan Lowe. I was living in South Africa at the time, and the voice really developed quickly over 12 months, and I thought, this is what I want to do. And I stopped training as hard as I did with the rugby. I also had a groin tear, which was recurring. I tore my groin, and it made training difficult and sprinting, and I was put off the game. If you think I was training with rugby more or less 6 days a week, really hard stuff too. I'd had enough, and I just wanted to pursue the singing and acting career.
And you did that in of all places, and I can say this because I was born there. You don't imagine putting singing together with Birmingham. But you actually trained professionally in Birmingham.
Yeah, I did, yeah. It was by accident, actually. I said I lived in South Africa. That was on my gap year. And then my brother said to me, "Ryd, you have to go to Red Brick University." He'd been to Leeds. And I said, okay. And so they gave me an unconditional to go to Birmingham. And it was... by accident, and I loved it. I did a year of drama, which was too theory-based. There's hardly any practical, and I'm a very practical man. I like to actually act in a drama course rather than philosophise and think about it and write about it. So it wasn't for me, but then somebody heard me sing at the opera school, the Birmingham Conservatoire. It sounds terribly pretentious, Conservatoire, but it's a known college.
Yes.
And I went, and they gave me a scholarship, and I had a great teacher, Christine Cairns, who I still see to this day. And it allowed me to develop my performing skills, I guess. We did a lot of productions, a lot of competitions, and competition really has been in me since the age of 4 when I was a boy soprano. But throughout college days, from the ages of 20 to 24, I was auditioning and performing in competitions at the Kathleen Ferrier Award and Cecil Drew and various things, and doing quite well, because I like competition, which then automatically led on to the X Factor, which at the time, it was the biggest competition with the biggest reward that I could imagine, and I went for it, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, we'll come on to that, because that's quite a strange move for somebody classically trained. But interesting, I pick up on there, you said that you were a boy soprano, that some don't make it once the voice breaks, do they? Some, you have to wait, you rest it for a while, and then suddenly, can I still sing?
Well, that's it. And the key is to rest it. When you're a boy soprano or treble, you shouldn't really sing through that break period, because the voice doesn't know what it's doing. It needs time to settle, and that's what I did, because I was singing up until the age of 10 in my falsetto voice, if you like, and then I didn't sing because it wasn't very cool to be a rugby player and sing in a high-pitched voice, as you can imagine. So I left it until I was 14. Best thing I could have done.
Yeah, and the voice was still there. And I suppose when you go to something like the conservatoire, do they then get all the bad habits out, and that you think you can sing, but now they say no, it's really like this.
You definitely, you definitely improve. I mean, this singing classically is a marathon, not a sprint, you know. And I often get asked what's the best advice you can give a young singer, and it's, you know, sing within your means. Don't push it too early. My voice is still developing. I'm 29 now, but my voice will be better when I'm 40 if I train in the right way. But if you're singing repertoire when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, which is, you know, Verdi or something, then you're not doing your voice any good.
Do you have any special tricks to keep it going? Do you look after it? The reason I ask is I know Michael Ball used to smoke heavily.
Yeah, well,
I don't know whether he still does, but do you think, how on earth, with that amazing voice, would you be able to manage to be a smoker?
This is the thing. I mean, I don't smoke personally. I think it is bad for the voice. It certainly strips the thin mucosa from the vocal folds, which is basically, if you lick your lips and you have that lubrication on your lips, you have the same on the vocal folds. Same with alcohol. So I don't do it, and I don't like smoking anyway. But as you say, Michael smokes, and I don't know if he still does, but he used to.
Yeah.
And people like Frank Sinatra did, and they could still sing. But what I would say is, for how long? You know, I want to sing until I'm 80, 85. You know, I one of my mentors, he sadly passed away now, but he died at 88, and I went to see him in concert at 86, and he never smoked. He was still singing on point at 86, and, you know, I think it'll catch up with you if you're a heavy smoker.
If you've got the gift, try and look after it. You've got some music choices for us as well this afternoon. First one, Mariah Carey and Brian McKnight. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, Whenever You Call. This is some people might not have heard of this song, and I hadn't until I worked with Walter Afanasieff in America. In my first album, I did a lot of recording in Los Angeles, and this writer, Walter, wrote this great song, and he said, Rhydian, I want you to sing Whenever You Call, because Mariah sang with Brian McKnight, and he didn't quite do it right. Well, I listened to the song, and I was thinking, I'm sorry, Walter, I have to disagree with you. This, for me, is one of the perfect duets ever recorded.